coach, I don't have that many listings. Yep, but their listings are going to be sitting a little bit longer. There's plenty of listings that are out there at your brokerage or people that aren't sitting them right now. Get out, call them, provide additional exposure. There's nothing better than getting face-to-face, belly-to-belly with real-life human beings.
Most videos are going to tell you what you want to hear. Very few times you're going to hear what you need to hear. And today, I've got on a very special guest, Coach Bill Pipes, who's one of the most respected and renowned coaches in the entire real estate industry. And if your business is not where you would like it to be today, this is the exact video that you need to hear right now, the entirety of it. So what we're going to be doing today is diving into not just opening scripts, follow-up scripts, and closing scripts for prospecting, but also follow-up and everything you need to understand in terms of mindset, the habits, and the standards that you need to be holding yourself to in order to become not just a 6, but a 7-figure real estate agent. Bill Pipes has coached some of the most elite real estate agents, helping them 10x their business and achieve massive results by following the principles that we're going to be revealing in this very conversation today. And I can tell you for a fact, this is going to make you rethink how you approach your entire real estate business. Now, before diving into it, I want to mention one quick thing. I'm going to link all of Bill's incredible content below. You're going to want to make sure to check it out because he's got a ton of amazing resources. And the most important thing is that he walks the walk, not just talks the talk. He practices what he preaches. So go follow him on social media so you can see the embodiment of everything we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, let's dive in and show you how to take your businesses from where it is today to where you've always dreamed of it being. What's going on, guys? Welcome to a super special conversation today. One that genuinely, and I don't say this often, I think it's going to change your life if you stay through to the end, because we're going to talk about all things from 2 practitioners that execute and walk the walk, not just talk the talk. But I'm beyond grateful, humbled, and honored to have on the one and only Coach Pipes, Bill Pipes. What's going on, man?
What's up, Sherrod, man? We were talking, guys, right before this, and Mike and I are just like, we're probably more excited than you guys are. Hopefully you guys are excited because we get a chance to hang out, and we don't get a chance to do that often because at events we're pulled in so many different directions. So you guys get to hang out while we bullshit and like talk about stuff that matters to us and hopefully matters to you guys as well too. So
100%, man. And I think one of the things I admire about you so much is that you just lead by example at the highest level. You see a lot of people in this space that talk based on theory, or they learned something from a coach and now they're telling it to other people, but they don't do it themselves. And you know, I'd love to unpack where that all started. So for people that might be living under a rock in this industry and don't know who you are, you know, who's Coach Pipes? What got you here? Where are you from? And then we're going to dive into tactics.
So I'll go, dude, it's sort of crazy. A lot of people don't know this, but I was born in a small town in Southeast Texas. Like I literally was born in a town called Kirbyville, Texas. And my whole family's military. My grandfather was a administrator, and after he was, out of the military, he's passed away. But he was a math teacher. And dude, I remember, like, this is crazy. I never mentioned this. I remember the moment that I got hooked on like, wow, learning stuff and having answers is cool, right? Because I was staying with him and he was teaching math and science, and I was in the course, and I was like 2 years younger than everyone that was in it, but I wasn't like, I was visiting him right before Christmas, and it was like 2 days before. And I was sitting there in the class, and we all took a test. Right. And keep in mind, I wasn't part of the class. I was just visiting. And I crushed it. And like he announced it from the front of the class, was like, and my grandson, who's like 4 years younger than you guys, did better. And that was great, like to actually have like that acknowledgement from my grandfather as like a paternal figure. But what was really funny is the best looking girl in the class came up to me afterwards and was like all up on me, like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. And I'm like, getting shit right. Freaking girls, this doesn't suck, right? And like, honestly, dude, that was, I know it's horrible to say, that was the beginning of me going, ooh, figuring shit out is pretty cool. You know what I mean? So fast forward a couple of years, my mother gave me my first audio program, which is, I have here still, right? Like I keep these suckers that I got when I was 13 years old. And dude, I loved learning. You know what I mean? I really did. I like you know, maybe I have like something in my mind that says you're not smart enough, so learn more, right? You know what I mean? But whatever it is that drove me, I absolutely loved and consumed and learned. And, you know, obviously met Mike Ferry when I was in my 20s. And because I met Mike, I approached what he taught me in the same way as if I was going to be in school again. I was actually in school to get a PhD, dude, like of all things. I was going to teach comparative literature. And Mike Ferry grabbed me, you know, the godfather of real estate training, and said, dude, let me teach you everything that I know about real estate. And he was, didn't have a lot of exposure to real estate. My mom was a real estate agent for a couple of years and went back to being a paralegal, but he taught me everything. And then I went and used it and had success using it, launched a mortgage company, launched a team, did everything that Ferry taught me. And just sort of then, you know, went back to my teaching roots that I wanted to do all along and do what I do now, man. So
yeah, and I think to add to that, because you're being too humble right now, is you know, what you do now is you help agents hit 7 figures, and you help teams scale, and agents on teams absolutely crush it, right? So you're not just the average coach that's out there helping people dabble. Like, you were helping people win at the highest level. And you know, before getting into the tactics, I think that's actually a really cool part of your story, is the love of learning. Because one of the things that I always tell people in real estate, and one of the downfalls of agents, is that they stop learning when the repercussions are immediate. So in school, if you don't learn, you get a big fat F. You have to go back and do it again until you get it right. But in real estate, if you don't learn how to prospect, how to follow up, how to do video, how to do any of these things, you don't feel it today or tomorrow or next week. You just go broke in 6, 8, 12 months and you feel out of the industry. And
it's quick, dude, it's quicksand. You know what I mean? Like, it really, like, real estate is a quicksand industry where you don't realize that all of a sudden you're up to your chest and you're like, shit, I can't breathe, right? I can't get out now of this, like, this jam that I'm in. I have no other choice, but I got to go back and do something else. It's sad, man. Like, it's just you're absolutely 100% correct. And you know what I noticed, dude, like we have, bro, I'm on a mission. I'm obsessed, right? And you heard me say this when I was on stage at Build in San Antonio. You know, it's, you know, straight up Arnold Schwarzenegger, that obsessed is only a word that the lazy use to describe the dedicated. I want that on my fucking tombstone, dude. Like, your life's Bill Pipes, obsessed is the only word. Like, when I first heard that, I'm like, it's so true, right? I'm obsessed with learning. I mean, I'm obsessed with my health and having the energy that I need to have. I'm obsessed with being a father that, like, my kids can look at and say, oh man, like, yes, you know, that's the type of man I want to marry, or that's the type of man I want to become. I'm obsessed with my relationship with my significant other and being a great son and like all those things, man. But I'm really obsessed right now with 1,000 agents breaking $1 million for the first time. That's my effing mission, man. So,
dude, I have a video from 2 years ago I put out where I said what my goal was, and it's helped 1,000 agents make $1 million 2 years ago.
Okay, let's do this shit together, man. like, come on, you know?
Exactly,
so,
right?
And there's some synchro destiny. There's some synchro destiny banging right now, man.
Exactly, dude. And one of the things that's so near and dear to my heart is that, you know, people will align with us for the sole reason that if our goal is big enough that everybody can see how they fit into it, it's going to make sense to them, because who doesn't want to make 7 figures as a real estate agent? And, you know, you said something that's so important. And before we go into, you know, the scripting and all the powerful things that you're a ninja at, one of the things that I always see people struggle with when it comes to learning is that people hate feeling stupid and they hate sucking at something, right? And that's one of the barriers to people learning, because they don't want to learn video because they know their first video is going to suck, and thus they don't want to look stupid and they don't want to start. So for you, helping these people learn all of these different habits, traits, standards that they hold themselves to, and different things that will help scale their business, what do you say to the people that are hesitant to learn something new and get outside of their comfort zone?
So it's 2 things that really have to adopt, right? They have to really surrender to. And number 1 is this whole idea of progress over perfection, right? Mm-hmm. It's so important. Because a lot of times, gosh, I went through this last week, bro, no joke, with 2 of my coaching clients, where they were just like, I'm letting you down, coach. I'm like where they're just like, I'm feeling horrible. And I'm like, don't even want to come to my coaching call because I'm like, hey, stop, man. Like, because we're so impatient with ourselves. We have so much lack of empathy for ourselves. And I'm not saying like make excuses for you not doing what you're supposed to do, but you got to recognize. And I learned this from Laird Hamilton, big wave surfer, like toe in. Like I got the chance to meet him when a movie called Riding Giants came out, which was so rad. And we got to go see the premiere of it, right? And I got a chance to talk to him and said, how have you been so successful? How do you keep yourself from getting frustrated, right? Because if you don't know who Laird Hamilton is, it's sort of sad. I mention it at seminars now. People go, who? Right? I'm like, oh man, you're missing one of the great athletes, the Michael Jordan of like water sports. He said, what he tells himself on a regular basis is that success is about progress, not perfection. Success is about progress, not perfection. And if I can get 1% better every single day, he said, then I know that in a year or a year and a half or 2 years, man, I'm gonna have this thing mastered, right? But most people think if I don't have it by next Tuesday or Friday or whatever, then they get frustrated with themselves. So I think the first thing is helping people recognize this is a longer path. Like if you want to get 7 figures and you're at 250, right? Hey, this is not going to be next year it happens, right? It's going to be 3 years. We build the plan out on 3 years. If it happens in 2, hell yes, let's get a ticker tape parade down the middle of your freaking street. You know what I mean? But like helping them understand it's a longer term process than they think. And Mike Ferry, my mentor, bro, said to me, he said, things always take longer than you expect. And you've probably felt that for yourself, right? And, everything that you're building in the business, you want it to happen quick. You want the videos to take on, you want to be like so good automatically. But really you got to go through the suck to shine. Right. And so, recognize it's going to take some time. So that's number one, right? Is this progress over perfection, like mentality. It's a mantra that I have. Number 2 is having people recognize every massive success that they have had is on the heels of the failures that they've experienced, right? And I don't know. I mean, Mike, think about some of the biggest wonderful things that have happened in your life. I guarantee you they were predicated based upon the shit burrito that you had to deal with, dude. So.
Yeah. I love that, man. And even just to contextualize both of those points, it's like the first point you alluded to is like the gap in the gain, right? Everybody's measuring themselves against the gap of like, okay, I'm at 0. I want to hit 250. I'm 8 deals in, I'm making 80K. I'm not even close to 250, but dude, you hit 80. Like measure yourself against where you came from and don't always be chasing where you're going. And yeah, dude. And one of the things that's near and dear to my heart is that if you learn from the no's and win from the yeses, it's impossible to lose. Because if you get a no and somebody hangs up on you, slams the door, shits on your video, whatever the situation is, you just take that and digest it and say, well, what can I learn from that experience so that I do better next time? It's not a failure. It's a learning experience. And that compounds to put you in the position to get the yes, to get the win.
Yeah. And the game is, did I get better? Not did I get the opponent. You know what I mean? I've had the chance to spend some time with a dude by the name of Tim Grover, right? Tim Grover, who wrote Relentless and he wrote Winning. I mean, he's just a beast. I got a picture of him and myself. And so we had him come and speak when I was at Tom Ferry, spoke 3 times at our event. So, when he comes and speaks, I would have the chance to have lunch with him and spend time with him, et cetera, which was really special. And, I said to him, like after he had spoken at one of I think it was a summit, or maybe it was a elite retreat or something that Tom had done. And I said, Tim, really tell me what's the difference between Kobe. For those of you who don't know who Tim Grover is, he was like Michael Jordan's personal trainer, Kobe Bryant's personal trainer, Dwayne Wade's personal trainer. Who else? Barkley personal trainer. Like he was all like these massively successful men in basketball. He was their health and vitality and coach for that, not their basketball coach, but their health coach. I said to him, really, what was the difference between Kobe and Michael and all those guys? And he said, dude, he goes, Bill, it's really easy. He said, when you get knocked down, what do you do? And I said, you get right back up, right? That's what that's what I've always taught. He goes, He goes, what the greats do is when they get knocked down, Mike, they stay down and they do exactly what you talked about. he said, you know, when Jordan would get knocked down, when shit wouldn't go the way they wanted to, he'd say, what got me here? How am I responsible? These were the questions. And I remember this, I can blaze my mind. What got me here? How am I responsible? What do I need to change so that I'm never here again? It says when you cycle through that, those failures, right, really become a feedback, because there is no failure. There's only feedback when you look at it from that standpoint. So
100%, man. I absolutely love that. And I think it, you know, that boils down to one of the most important concepts, which is being honest with yourself. And I think taking complete, utter ownership of your business, of your life, and everything that happens to you, making it your problem, right? And I find a lot of people, you know, make the problem their broker, their sponsor, the market, the brokerage, or whatever the situation, their coach, right? And when you really unpack it, you need to find a way to make it your fault every single time. And that's the only way that you can take ownership. And thus, when you take ownership, you take control, and you can actually do something about it instead of playing the blame game, right? And
the victim, I like, okay. I don't, bro, I don't get too riled up about a lot of stuff. I do my best to meditate and stay, because you run at a high level. I love to run at a high level. You know, I have to have that meditation to activate like my, you know, my parasympathetic nervous system to calm me down. But what riles me up is people that play the victim, you know, that do exactly what you said, which is blame their broker, blame the market, blame the other agents in their marketplace. Man, it's so tough. You know, my market, everyone, you know, lists at 4.5%. Bullshit. You know, you list at 4.755% because you choose to, because you didn't build your skills, because you can't build your value proposition at a level where someone goes, shit, I'll pay you more because you're going to get me more for the sale of my house. It has nothing to do with the market. It has everything to do with the lack of work that you put into the skills that you needed to have. So I probably pissed some people off and good.
Well, dude, and I tell people that all the time too, which is like, if that's going to be your mentality and you're going to be a victim, not a victor, just understand that, you know, when somebody's bleeding and there's sharks in the water, you better get your shit together, because you know what's about to happen to you in your business. You're going to get destroyed, right? Yeah. And because there's people like you and me and Chet Black and people that are going to come out there and beat you based on your weak mindset, right? So just, if you're going to play that game, just know what's going to happen to your business, right? There's people that aren't taking that. So, you know, looking at where the market is going, because you touched on it, is, you know, things are quirky right now. It's not the easiest time for a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, rode a 2-year gravy train and the market was easy. And, you know, people were selling homes 200K over lists in 2 minutes. And, you know, times are changing. So one of the things that I love about you, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, Mike, should I just do social media? Should I just do video? And my answer, beknownst to their surprise, is no. If you need business today, you better get on the phone or hit the pavement and start knocking on some doors, because I'm telling you that social media is delayed gratification. It takes time to build. It is later business. If you want business today, you have to prospect. That is now business. And eventually,
love you say that, dude.
Yeah, man, because eventually you'll probably get to the point, if you are intentionally improving over time, that your content will bring in some leads, and then you can dial back prospecting, ramp up the content, and it's a teeter-totter effect. But it doesn't just work overnight. So I built my business on door knocking 3 hours a day, 7 days a week for 6 months straight, hail, rain, snow, the whole 9 yards. And I would not change that for the world, not only because it built grit and mental fortitude, but it allowed me to develop the number one skill that we need to thrive in real estate, which is communication, right? The ones that communicate the best are the ones that win over experienced agents, whatever.
Yep.
Let's dive into the approach of, you know, dialogue, being able to open conversation, anything related to prospecting that you're saying, okay, if I'm an agent right now, I realize I just screwed the whole year up so far. I've got 5.5 months left. What am I doing going forward to say I'm buckling down and I'm getting some damn business?
So first of all, let me echo a sentiment that you have, and it's sort of interesting, because I have people come to me sometimes and say, "Well, should I do marketing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you should do marketing, right? But you actually have to, like, because you get the should I prospect, and I get the should I do marketing, right? Because we're sort of almost known for different things. But here's what I believe believe the best businesses, the ones that actually have longevity, are prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Right. Like, so what that means is they have at their core, like look at Matt Smith, right? Or even Brent Gove's team, you know, like that I coach, like the teams I coach, they have this commitment of 1, 2, 3 hours a day, typically 1 to 2 hours a day for themselves or for their team that they're prospecting, but they've got their videos that are going, they've got their direct mail, they've got their email marketing campaigns, right? So that when they finally do start, you know, to your point, when they get people on the phone, they're like, oh yeah, I see you. Oh, you're Mike, man. I came across one of your videos. Creates that like that comfortableness and that certainty, right? And that trust and respect and rapport that is necessary. So I do believe in marketing. I do think the best businesses are prospecting based and marketing enhanced. So I just want to be clear on that. So if someone needed to get some business right now, here's what I would tell you. Every single one of you that is watching right now is sitting on probably anywhere from 100 to maybe freaking 10,000 leads. Depending upon what your marketing has been, right? Everyone gets them in. Right now, there is more money lost in those leads and you not being able to convert than probably any other portion of your business, right? What you've got to have the ability to do is to be able to call them up with the dialogue that says, hey, can I please speak with Mike? Hey, Mike, it's Bill Pipes over here with Banana Real Estate. I'm giving you a call back, just like I said I would a couple months ago. By the way, have you bought a house now? You haven't. Are your plans still to buy, and moved, down to Salt Lake City within the course of the next, 6 months? Yep, those are still your plans. Listen, I was thinking about you because I'm sure you saw that the Fed just increased interest rates. Do you know how that could actually be playing in your favor to be able to purchase a home right now, right? And then be able to actually go into that. And some of you may be going, what? Like play into their favor? Yes. 100%, right? See, I was just like teaching a bunch of ISAs like this script. It's so rad, dude. Watch this. Can I go through it with you really quick? Sorry,
Let's go. I love it. I'm ready.
So, Mike, I'd love to share with you exactly how like actually the increase in interest rates could be playing into your favor right now to buy a home. Did you realize that it could be playing into your favor?
No, I thought it was a negative. I'd love to learn.
Yeah. Do you know who Warren Buffett is?
Of course.
Of course. Do you know how much Warren Buffett is worth right now?
All I know is he's got a lot of billions.
$117 billion, right? And do you know how he's made that money?
Playing the long game, I think.
Playing the long game. Well, actually, he plays it this way. If everyone else is selling, then he's buying. When everyone else is buying, he says he's selling. Right? Almost contrarian. Well, look right now with the interest rates increasing by 1/4 point here with the Fed announcement that just took place, right? What do you think that's done to the amount of buyers that are, out there looking at property right now?
I think it's made it less, probably less, scared them off.
Absolutely correct. We've seen mortgage applications decrease by anywhere from 3 to 5% week over week. And on top of that, you've got buyers that have said, hey, I can't financially do it. And others that are uncertain. How do you think that's a benefit to you, brother?
Probably less competition on the offers.
Yep. So you got less competition, which is the situation that you want, which is different than what you had in April, right? When you were looking at that time and you said, I'm going to take a pause. Can I share with you what else is really exciting right now that's working in your favor, Mike?
Of course.
Okay. With fewer buyers in the market, guess what's beginning to happen to the number of listings that are on the market and the number of price reductions? You know what a price reduction is, right, Mike?
Oh, of course. We want those.
We want those. That's where a seller says, oh, I overshot the price, coming back down on it. Do you know what we've seen nationally in terms of price reductions over the course of the last 2 weeks?
No, not certain.
2 to 3% increase. And according to Mike Simonson and Housing Wire, right, who are our go-to sources on the number of price reductions, right? Wow. So guess what that means for you, man?
Might be able to get a better deal.
More negotiating power. So let's look at this. Fewer buyers that you're competing with, more negotiating power. Granted, you may pay a little bit more in the interest rate, but the Fed has already said that they're going to reduce rates. Do you know when it's going to happen?
No.
They're saying second quarter of 2024. Wouldn't it be great that instead of you having to look at making a decision to buy a house, you're making a decision on when to refinance, right? Isn't that a better decision to be making?
Definitely.
Hey, Mike, that because you said definitely, that's exactly why we need to set an appointment to be able to continue your search, to go out, to get aggressive on this. All right, listen, I got time on Monday or Tuesday at 4. Let's go. So, right.
I love that, dude. There's so much to unpack there. And I love that you just flow through it because, for me, when I got started in real estate and I was door knocking, only 27% of listings in Calgary were selling. Like, this market's a joke compared to what I got started in. And it all comes down to perspective. You have to create a narrative that is a win-win situation for somebody. And the best part is whether the market's up, down, all around, it is always a good time to buy or sell for somebody. But you have to create the narrative. And as you talked about, and I want people to really understand this, the only way to create that narrative is to educate yourself with the right information and the right data. You can't go out there spewing BS and making things up and actually entice people to go. Like, you're talking facts, data, and that comes from your knowledge of the market.
Dude, this is what I teach, right? Again, like my passion. And it took me, you and I were talking about this, like, finding your voice is in anything that you do is such a critical thing, right? And really, I spent so much time really finally like defining what type of selling process I teach. And what I teach, for those of you that I haven't got the chance to be able to actually spend time with or personally trained or coached at a seminar, I teach what's called education-based, data-driven selling. Education-based, data-driven selling, where today in this world that we live in, it's a lot different. I've been in this game of real estate, dude, since I was honestly 22 years old, right? Around like Mike Ferry and all those individuals. I'm 51, so 27, 28 years, man. The consumer today is so different than 10 years ago. Why? Because they've got so much information access at their fingertips, which is both a blessing and a curse, right? Because most of that information, as we all know, is tainted. It's from, no offense, YouTubers who are full of shit, you know what I mean? Like that don't, that are just spinning some stuff. Or like, God, I filmed this guy who was on MSNBC. And he was talking about, it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like some guy who was an economist. He was a journalist talking about the real estate market. I'm like, this guy doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, man. Right. And people buy into that. So our job, carefully listen to me, our job is to control the narrative for our clients by educating them on the reality of what is actually occurring so that they can make more intelligent decisions. See, I believe that a motivated and educated consumer will always make more intelligent decisions. Our job as the agent is to provide that education and to find the motivated through prospecting. So, yeah.
Exactly. I love that. And I think, what you talk about there is a concept that we always tell people, whether it be on production or agent attraction, which is shaking the tree, right? And you've already got business in your pipeline. You've already got leads that have been called and, you just haven't touched on them for months, 4 or 6 months. Like, shake that tree and see what falls out, because you're always sitting on business that you've just ignored and weren't diligent enough to follow with. So, you've got an incredible script for that follow-up process. For anybody that's saying, well, listen, dude, like I just got started. I don't have a database. Do you have like an opening line, or for somebody that's saying, I want to start calling, what's your recommendation for getting started for somebody?
2 things. Number 1, call everyone that you know who has a friend or a family member who owns a home or not, and sound your barbaric yelp that you are in real estate. Spend, like, honestly, guys, if you're a newer agent, or if you're an agent that's just like, hey, guys, I'm selling 8, 9, 10 homes a year. I want to go to 20, 30. Awesome. Spend 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes a day going to, like, I don't know, in Canada, where would you go? What would be the like media sources, or the ones that you like down here in the States? I love Keeping Current Matters, Housing Wire, Mortgage Daily News, Barry Habib, Mike Simonson, Logan Motoshami. Like, those are all my peeps that I go to, that I listen to for 10 to 15 minutes a day. And the way that I do it is I have a 10-minute warm up every single day when I go to the gym, right? Before I either am into my run or I'm into my weights, right? And so that 10 minutes is press play, and I'm with Logan. Press play, I'm listening to Mike Simonson. Press play, right? I'm listening to, like whatever's coming out for NAR or anything else along those lines, or I'm reading. If you do that as a newer agent, or as an agent that's looking to scale, you'll get excited and feel confident about talking about the market, right? And when you get excited and confident about, this is me naturally. Like when I'm like, I am so excited to actually teach people how to be able to take this information and turn it into like support for buyers and sellers. Cause I think consumers deserve that education and they're not getting it. They need the truth, right? So when you really know that and you believe it, and the way you believe it is because you hear it again and again and again from different sources, you can't wait to get out there and start talking to people about it. So then I call my friends. I'm like, hey, it's Bill over Banana Real Estate. How are you? Dude, Mike, how are you? Dude, hey, listen, I'm in real estate, right? I've had a ton of our friends reaching out to me saying, dude, what's going on with this real estate market? So rather than, waiting for you to call me or for us to, in passing, like at the pub, be able to talk about it, I thought I'd give you a call, man, and just say, what questions do you have right now? So, yeah. And then I just go into same conversation. Do you want to know what's going on with interest rates? Would you like to know the impact it's having on the market? I know you don't own a home. Have you thought about buying? Do you want to know why now might be a great time for you to be able to do it? So,
that's awesome.
It's really like Legos, bro. When you get your fundamental scripts down, you can just go layer this over here, this one over here, and that one there. So
unreal.
That would be number one. Number two, I do as many freaking open houses as I could, period. I do 3 a week. I do one on Thursday as a sunset one, right? I do one on Saturday. I do another one on Sunday. Coach, I don't have that many listings. Yep, but their listings are going to be sitting a little bit longer. There's plenty of listings that are out there at your brokerage or people that aren't sitting them right now. Get out, call them, provide additional exposure. There's nothing better than getting face-to-face, belly-to-belly with real-life human beings where if you shit the bed a little bit, that's not as bad because it's face-to-face. You got the 55% of your body language that works in your favor at that point. So
100%. And dude, like even just to talk about, the open houses and doing 3 a week, I love that you touched on that because at the end of the day, real estate is a numbers game and it's all about the math and putting things in your favor. So, you see the average agent, they're doing 1 open house a week. There's an agent in my organization. He just brought his 137 person brokerage over to our group. And in order to build momentum, he was doing 2 open houses every Saturday, 2 every Sunday, and 1 every Friday, 5 a week. Because he would do 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, so when you have the average agent doing 1 a week and you're doing 5 per week, you are going to shorten the time it takes to scale by 5 times. You're putting time in your favor by controlling the math and the numbers by overcompensating on volume. And I think, that's what, you've been so good at is say it's when you break down the math and reverse engineer what it takes to go from call to appointment to close deal, you can skew the odds in your favor by overcompensating on volume. Instead of just saying, I'm going to do it for an hour, do it till you're burnt out and then do it again the next day. And that's why I door knocked 7 days a week for 3 hours every day, because I said I could do it, 7 days a week for 1 hour a day and take 18 months, or 1 hour a day for, 3 days a week, take 36 months, or I could do something that's near and dear to my heart. Do what sucks as quickly as possible so you can enjoy what's fun for as long as possible.
Totally, man. Yeah. I mean, I love that, right? Like collapse the curve. Everyone knows that, or potentially most people have heard about the insane work ethic of Kobe Bryant, right? So I'm a big basketball, like 90s basketball, early 2000s basketball fan. I don't watch it that much anymore. I was watching Jordan against the Vancouver Grizzlies when it was like, when they were where they should still be, Vancouver. I'm like, I loved it when Vancouver got that expansion team. But anyway, you look at Kobe Bryant and you hear his work ethic. Well, I saw an interview with him and he said, listen, it's simple numbers. I got 2 to 3 more hours worth of workout in because I was in from 4 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at the gym practicing. And I just simply got more time. And because I got more repetitions and more time, right? He wasn't like, when he was like 16, 15, 14, he was talking about like, he was not a standout. He just put more time in, right? Steph Curry, great greatest pure shooter of the probably ever in the game. He just took more shots in practice. And that's the thing that I wish people would really adopt is don't do enough just to get by, do enough to become great at it, you know, because if you build your skills at the level and you spend an hour a day really honing those skills and role playing and going through your scripts and reciting it in front of a mirror, then recording yourself doing it and watching it, and then listening to yourself doing it and giving it to your coach or listening to it, you do that. I swear to goodness, I said this at Build. If you gave me 1.97 years, I could get you to a level almost of mastery at the 8 fundamental skills that are required to be a real estate agent. And you had that number as well too. And it was so crazy how it came in within like a month and a half or 2 months of being the same thing, man. So like, dude, build the skills. You get paid to talk. The better you communicate, the more money you're going to make. It's that simple. It's that simple. So,
yeah. Well, and that's going to be a perfect segue into where I want to go with this, because, you know, we've talked about what people want. Now it's time to talk about what people need. And when you look at it, and again, I just want to echo something that's a bit off topic, but it's circling back with what you said earlier, prospecting based, marketing enhanced. I think one of the worst things people do is they prospect until they build momentum, take their foot off the gas, think they can just rely on marketing, and then they realize their pipeline is dry once those deals close. And that goes to where I want to take this in terms of direction, which is that what people want is the tactic, the tools, the strategy. What they need are the habits and the standards that they hold themselves to. And I know that, you know, your 9 traits of a 7-figure agent are so powerful. And I'd love to kind of unpack some or all of those in a sense of, you know, agents are always looking for the shiny penny, the trend, the new platform, the best overnight success trick that doesn't exist. And they're not, you know, they're not building the traits that lead them to that, because you just gave people an opening script and a follow-up script, which is the 2 things everybody says they need. Well, what's going to happen is nobody's going to do it because they're lacking the traits to execute. So let's dive into mindset, habits, traits.
Let me, I was just sorry for I was listening to you, but rather than me trying to find my sheet that has this, I figured I'd just draw it. This right here is my model for success that's taken me 50 years to be able to really codify. I think success, I call it S4, right? So these 3 small S's lead up to the big S, right? And all the greats in any business, right? You have these 3 things. You have skills, you have your standards, right? Standards are your disciplines, rituals, routines. Your skills are your conversations, dialogues, and strategies that you can use to be able to create rapport with people, et cetera, move them forward. And then you've got your strategies, or like your marketing, your process for following up. It's more the processes and the systems, right? But the biggest one, I will tell you, that if someone came to me, and I always do this, not always, most of the time, when I start coaching, I just started coaching a new gal, great agent. She's already earning about $400,000 or $500,000 a year, wants to go to $1 million. And I take on about 5 of them a year, because I'm like, who's my next crew? You know, like, let's go, baby. And her name's Amy. And the first thing that I did with Amy is I said, okay, what are the things that you used to do when you were on fire that were your rituals that you stopped doing? Because what I know is if I can get someone ritualistic back, or doing, you know, like a morning routine, a routine to get yourself warmed up and your scripts practiced, a ritual to prospect every single day. If I can just get you on those 3 things, and a ritual to, and a discipline to follow up, if I just get you to do those 4 things, you're going to write your ticket to 7 figures. You'll eventually get your scripts down, because you'll do it by trial and error. Even if you don't spend all the time, you'll go, oh, that didn't work. You know, I talked about this. That didn't work. I'll come back at it again tomorrow. I'll try it a different way. Oh, that was a little bit better. See, but it's the standard. It's the discipline of doing it every single day that drives the skills. If you don't have the discipline, you won't do the strategies on an ongoing basis. So for me, for anyone that I coach, they know this, man. I hammer the F out of them. And I said, you'll love this, Mike. I own you, and you work for me until 12 o'clock. They're like, what? I'm like, you work for me. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're my employee. You want to earn seven figures? That's $480 an hour. I need you to work like you're my $480 an hour employee up until 12 o'clock. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You show up at the same time every single day. You actually have your mental routine that you do prior to, right? You can play business owner in the afternoon, but until 12 o'clock, work like an employee so that after 12 you can work like a business owner, right? So that mindset shift, that getting them to actually relate to their time that way and be disciplined, is huge, right? It's the first place I start with everyone I coach, to tell you the truth.
100%, dude. And I love that, because, you know, one of the things that really hit home when you were talking at Build, which we, you know, had the, you know, blessed opportunity to do together, is you specifically stated, and I love that you just called it as it is that if you want to win, it's not going to be easy. Everybody is looking, and unfortunately, a lot of, you know, credible speakers are trying to give the easy blueprint to getting seven figures, or the easy way to build their YouTube channel, or and I'm like, dude, that like you're lying to everybody and yourself. It doesn't exist.
Isn't it sad, dude? Like,
yeah,
it's sad. Like,
especially since a lot of people look up to these people. So if they say it's easy and it gets hard, then they're like, maybe it's not for me, maybe I'm not cut out for it. And you're setting false expectations. So, you know, I love that you talked about those 9 things. And again, we don't have to dive into all of them, but for you, what are some of the most common standards or habits people have that you see in those that are winning and excelling at their business? Because you can be taught the skills, you could be taught all of the processes, but it takes a little bit more work to develop the right habits and standards.
I think the number one thing, and this is something like when I look at the 9 characteristics and the 9 traits, right? I'll go through a couple of them. Number one is that they have made a specific, they are absolutely committed to winning, right? Like that, like if I brought up the picture that I have of all the people that, it's now 30 people. There was one person I left out. So over the course of the last 10 years, I've helped 30 people actually get over that $1 million mark. I'm so blessed, and I'm humbled just that I got to be there with them, right? What's really funny is that when they hit the million, Mike, what's really rad, the next, like they'll tell me, they're like, it happened. I'm like, cool, go outside. They'll go outside. I'm like, where's the parade? They're like, it's not there. I'm like, exactly, get fucking back to work. Right. So like, it's just another day, but congratulations. I'm stoked for you. But every single one of them has this like massive competitiveness and desire to win. And it isn't always against other people. In some cases it is, you know what I mean? But and that gets them so far. But then it's like the competitiveness against that version of themselves, right? Yeah. Like me, dude, I'm so competitive with myself. Like I went to Build, came back, got some, like, it says I got COVID, right? Like I was like, in my mind, I'm like, COVID doesn't exist, right? And I'm like, well, something kicked my ass, right? I don't know what it was. It was some flu or whatever. But I put on like probably 6 or 7 pounds in that week and a half, because I did some comfort eating while I wasn't feeling well. Dude, my competitiveness with myself, when I got on the scale, I was like, I am going to win. I'm going to crush you, fat Bill, right? Like, you know, like, I'm like, no way are you coming back. It's just simply not going to happen, right? And I have this competitiveness, right? So I think number one is that to recognize that is not something that you have to be born with. You can develop that. And you develop it by coming up with, what do I really want, right? If I want 7 figures, why is that an absolute must? And here's the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself about your goal. Okay. Whatever it is. For me, if I'm working with someone, it's 7 figures, or it's 2 million, or it's 3 million, or whatever it is, right? For me, it's 25 million revenue for my company. That's my big, hairy, audacious goal the next couple of years. Number 1, what's the goal, and do I have clarity around it? Yes. Do I know how many people it's going to take in my coaching company to be able to get there? 100%, right? Number 2, what about that goal makes it an absolute must? Why is that an absolute must? All these other personal growth and development gurus talk about, well, you got to know your why. And you got what, you know, like, no, it's why. You know what the why is? Why is it a must? Yeah. And I could go into like one of my old mentors or sort of partners, not Chep Black, right? Chep's been really good to me, right? But other individuals, that were like, dude, you're never going to make it. You shouldn't break away from it. My friends and like other people that have said that, bro, you want to know, like, yes, I want to change lives. Like, I'm committed to that. I want 1,000 people, millionaires. I want to be part of that. I'm committed to that. But also in the back of my head is this, I'll prove those motherfuckers wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so for me, it's the combination of the contribution and also that fire that makes it an absolute must. So, you know, that's number two. And you got to really get that, because for most people, the goal that they set, Sherrod, is a good idea. And then when they get pressed, dude, they back off of it, right? So number three, the third question I always am going to have my people I coach and I ask myself and with my business, what is the sacrifice I'm willing to make to be able to hit that goal? And that's the shit. That question right there is the one that nobody talks about. Okay. Yeah. That people tiptoe around. They say, if you get your why down, you got it, man. And they think it's going to be rainbows and freaking a unicorn jumping over the rainbow, pooping Skittles, right? Ain't it? You know, like it, you got to realize that level of massive success will come with sacrifice. Have you had to go through that, man? Have you, like, have there been sacrifices that you've gone, fuck, man, right? Yes, but I choose that.
Well, dude, to say the least, like I can even unpack all three of those points in my own perspective to share people, you know, what I go through is like, desire to win. Like people ask what my goals are. I have two goals. I want to help 1,000 people make $1 million. And I want to personally make $100 million. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I want to prove to myself, nobody else, what I know I'm capable of as a man. I don't care what you think of it. I want to do it just to prove to myself. And then you start looking at, you know, why is it important to me? Well, people that say money isn't important are lying to themselves. They've never had money if they're saying that, because how do you help somebody that's broke and starving? You're going to do it for free? You need money, right? And when you start looking at that, byproduct of impact is being able to create wealth and share it in the right way. And then you start looking at, you know, what I'm willing to give up, right? My why was my family, but why was that a necessity, right? I gave up 5 years. Like I for the first 5 years, 0 vacations, 0 birthday parties, beautiful sunny afternoon. It's literally Friday afternoon, gorgeous outside. My friends are actually having patio beers right now. We're here doing collab videos, and next week or on tomorrow and the next day, I'm recording 12 hours. I'm doing 2 months of content. Like I was willing and still am to give up everything.
And that's the shit that people don't talk about that needs to be talked about over and over again, because then all of a sudden when people get pressed up against it and then they're like, fuck, man, I'm not sure, like I'm doubting this, whatever. We think we're broken because no one talks about the fact that there's some suffrage. I mean, go listen to David Goggins, bro. Like, and I'm so happy that you said that, because it's funny. I love Tears for Fears. They're in concert right now. Like I'm dating myself, you know, 51 years old. I was listening to the oldies station. This was one of those moments I was like, son of a bitch, it's happened. And they're like, next on the oldies is Everyone Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. A, I'm listening to the radio, which makes me old. B, they said one of my favorite bands is now the oldies. But anyway, my buddies were like, hey, we're all going to Tears for Fears. Do you want to come? Do you want to do whatever? I'm like, I'd love to, but no, because we're launching this 7-figure sales. We got all this that's going on. My son, I missed 2 days of football tournaments. I still went to a couple of other ones, but I had to have a conversation with him like, bro, I'm launching this business, right? You need to understand that anytime you have a big goal, there is a sacrifice that you need to make. It became a great learning lesson. He's like, I got you, Dad. Don't worry about it, right? But like, had I not come to grips with there is going to be a sacrifice, then I would have made myself wrong. And I didn't at that moment when I missed his football. I said, this is part of what I have to pay to be able to have in the long run this amazing business, this life that will give my son for his senior year. We're going and we're renting a 140-foot yacht off the coast of frickin' Greece, or 130-foot yacht off the coast of Greece with his buddies. Because why? Because I was willing to bite on the sacrifice, man. So
100%, man. I see it all the time. Like it's so funny when people actually like get to know me on a deeper level, because they see the Lamborghini, the penthouse, the lake house, and the watch and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, and I'm going to post for this on Monday. I sit in this fucking chair for 16 hours a day, every single day. You're seeing the 1% of the time I even leave my penthouse to go and I get a photo and then I get back to work. Like, you know, I don't think people really contextualize what it takes to get here in the time that we did. And I love that you and I could be open about that and not sugarcoat it and blow smoke up people, because, you know, this is what people need to hear. And I think that also goes into the last point I want to touch on, which is health, and looking at the fact that people are one track minded. They say, okay, I've got this business goal. I'm going to do 100K, 250K, 500, a million, whatever that goal is. But their relationships are tarnished. They're out of shape and overweight. They have no energy, right? Yeah. They're mentally broken because they have defined themselves by work and not by who they've become. And there's all of these things where it's like, okay, you can be making, we both know people making well over 10 million a year, and they are not in shape. They can't run with their grandkids. They're not even going to be around to enjoy the fruit of their labor. Where's the fun in that? So, you know, you're in incredible shape, right? And
but I wasn't. I wasn't.
Exactly.
Like I was not.
Both of us weren't.
Yeah, like you know, you talked about it on stage at Build, right? Like, you know, our paths are so aligned. And first of all, proximity is power. Right? Period. I love, there's what is the book? It's called Tribe of Millionaires, which is a really great book. And I keep one of the quotes up here. It says B equals P plus E. It's one of the most important equations you'll ever hear, which is your behaviors, B, equal P, the people you're with, imagine in parentheses, the people that you associate with and the environment that you're around, right? Now, I came and I worked, I aligned with Chep. And he never once, Mike, said, you're fat. And I was, dude. Like, I saw a picture of myself a year ago, last week is when it was. I was in this white shirt on stage, right? You know, like leading an event. And I'm like, mofo, I look like a sausage stuffed into a freaking casing right now. Like, that is not good. I remember seeing that. And I went to John, I said, who's in great shape. I said, bro, I need to do something about this. He's like, yep, you got it, you know? And like, we went on this tear and he never made me wrong. Like, I really give massive props to Chep, dude, because he is one of those individuals who is a leader that truly is the same leader behind closed doors as he is, you know, out front. And just being around him, making better decisions, being around that community, I learned something. You talked about, and I dropped 27 pounds, right? I dropped it from May, like from about May was when I started to tinker with the idea. Then I saw my picture in July and I got aggressive August, September, October. I was 228 pounds. I dropped down to 194 pounds, right? Over the course of about 4.5, 5 months. And here was the thing. You said, you see these people that are successful and they have bad relationships and they have this and that. I'm gonna take it all down to one thing. It's because they cannot control their health and vitality. Okay. Like my significant other's in Brazil. I don't want to tell you about the picture I sent her, right? Like you guys don't want to bring you guys into that, but that's a picture I wouldn't be sending her as my significant other if I was fat. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, like I love, like I love feeling good when I take my clothes off and I'm around the woman that I love. I love having the energy that I need, right? When I wake up, I woke up this morning at 4:45, 4:30-ish, and my alarm didn't go off. And I laid there in bed. I'm like, it's a little bit early for me, because that is early for me, right? Like, I'm normally like maybe a 5:15, 5:30-ish guy. And I'm like, I'm up. What should I do? Like, should I go? Like, and I'm like, fuck, I'm up. My dog looked at me. He's right there. Like, he looked at me. He's like, are you really getting up? Dude, it's those moments where you get this, you feel like a badass, because you are, and you're making decisions, and your relationship sucks because you're out of shape and you don't have energy after work, and you come home and you're not being a good mom or dad because you're not eating right or working out and putting the time and energy and effort in. So when your kids come in, your fuse is short, instead of you being able to have the dopamine and the serotonin balanced out, so that you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'm a little bit stressed right now, but you know what? I got this managed, right? Or you don't have the systems and processes in place of, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes a day. I'm going to pray I'm going to do my gratitude. You don't have those disciplines of being able, when I say health, it isn't just physical health, it's your mental health as well too. When you have all that banging, you're a better leader, guaranteed. When you have yourself in great shape, you know, like you're an amazing spouse, right? You're like, I'm 51 years old, dude. I will say, I have the most beautiful Brazilian, like 42-year-old, amazing woman. We are not married. We jokingly, she's our DOO, our director of operations of our organization / SOW, right? Significant other. The W, she says, stands for wife in the future. I say it stands for without ring, right? So we go back and forth and joke. But dude, I want to give her everything I can. I want to give my son everything I can. I want to give my daughter everything that I can. I want to be able to give this business everything I can. I want to give every single one of you everything I can. I want to give Mike everything I can while I'm here. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I'm eating well, taking care of my mind, getting enough sleep, not drinking alcohol, right? And it's not because there's anything wrong with that. It's because the commitment that I have of the impact I want to have on the world is bigger than any of that other bullshit that I don't need anymore, period. So,
man, you couldn't have said it better. And you know, I see this all the time when I'm talking to people about getting in front of the camera, and they're like, well, I hate well I look. And well, there's one solution. If you don't like how you look, go get better looking, right? Like go get in shape. And I see this, like when I put on the COVID 40 and I started looking like a beluga whale, I didn't really get that motivated to put out content. And then I was like, well, damn, dude, I look back at my videos, I'm like, I got to get it together. Like, and when you get it better and you're looking better, you're feeling better, you have more confidence when you knock on doors, when you make calls, when you're putting out content, you feel better, you look better, you perform better, right? And this is not to put, well, it is to put down people out of shape, is that stats prove people that are in better shape in the corporate world and the entrepreneurial world make more money, right? And because here's the thing, when you can look at somebody that is in shape, you immediately know they embody the characteristics of what it takes to get there, which is discipline, consistency, and delayed gratification. And when you know somebody embraces that, I told this on the interview with Joshua Smith earlier today with Chuck Fazio, which is that strong people don't follow weak people, right? Yep. And if you want to build a RevShare organization, build a team, build massive production, you got to be strong, and that is mentally strong, physically strong, emotionally strong. And to kind of pull that full circle, you mentioned books, and there's a book that probably will help a lot of people when it comes to really contextualizing a lot of what you talked about in terms of the habits, which is 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. That is one of the best books that I've
never heard
read.
anyone mention that. It's about that thick, dude. It says 177. Yep. I know the book. I got the book. Where the hell is it?
Yep, it's in my background.
It's somewhere over here. That is so incredibly funny, man. I've never heard anyone actually mention that, and it's somewhere in here. Dude,
well, I love it because it's consumable, bite-sized chunks that help you just reframe. Here's what the average do. Here's what the world class does. Little half-page excerpts that will really just reframe your thinking as to how are you approaching life. And you say you want to be world class, but one of the best things, and you know this if you're in fitness, one of my favorite little 8-second clips is Ronnie Coleman with 800 pounds on his back saying everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one wants to lift this heavy ass weight. And he's like, and I'll do it. And it's like, everybody says they want 6 figures or 7 figures or a RevShare organization or this or that. But it's like, are your habits and traits mapping toward that? Or are you saying you like the idea of it, like you talked about, but you don't actually really want it?
There is, it's so rad. But there's a scene, speaking of bodybuilding, like Pumping Iron. If you guys haven't watched Pumping Iron, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best. I'm a big Schwarzenegger fan because here's a dude that when you look at it, he won Mr. Olympia multiple times, came back after not training and beat Lou Ferrigno, which was rad, right? And the entire Pumping Iron is about like that whole process. They asked him, what are you going to do now? He goes, I think maybe I'll go into movies, right? He went into movies and he goes, I don't know. This is what he says at the end of Pumping Iron. He's smoking a joint of all things, right? So he's like, maybe I will go into movies and become a big movie star. And then I'll be run for president. Damn it if he didn't do all that. And that's the thing I respect about him. There's things I don't respect about him and things I do, of course. But I do, that's like any human being though. What I do respect about him is that he had a vision and he was willing to put the work in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's a scene where he and Franco Columbo are doing squats, right? And they're like, they've got to have like 400 pounds on squats. Like it's just insane. And they're just going again and again and again. You see the bar bending. And Columbo like is about to pass out, and Schwarzenegger goes, "It's time to get serious," right? And looks at him, and you see Columbo's face like, "What the fuck have we been doing, man?" But that's like when you're around the Fazios, when you're around somebody like the Brett Goves, the Chet Blacks, these individuals that run big lives, they just basically don't have to say it. Who they're being says, "Get serious," right?
Yep.
And it challenges you to that next level. Now, I will leave everyone with one last thought. My mentor, Mike Ferry, said this to me years ago. He said, it's really simple. He goes, either you are going to adjust your habits and keep your goals if you're not getting what you want, or you'll need to adjust your goals down and keep your habits. It's the choice. It's really, dude, that simple, right? And when you're around badasses, you're around stallions, like I said, at Build, you're going to run like a stallion. Even if you're a pony, you'll fool yourself into it, right? I learned a long time ago that my superpower is I can out energy any mofo. Like I just said, okay, that's it. Like you guys hopefully are getting some energy. And that's what I love about being around you, Mike. When we're talking, we're like, oh, right. And it just sort of feeds upon itself. And you and I were talking and people started like coming around, not because they knew who we were, just because the energy that we actually have, not that we're important people or anything, but people were like, what is going on over there? Right.
Yeah.
And if you want to, whatever your goal is, if it's 250, if it's 500, if it's $1 million, if it's 2 million, if it's 8 figures, whatever it is, I'm gonna tell you, it requires so much energy that you don't even recognize, right? To be able to handle the problems of a big organization, or I've got this client that is screaming and yelling at me, and then I got to get off this and go be a great mom or dad. All that shit, man, is an energy, a commitment to energy that you have to have. What are you reading? What are you doing to like emotionally and spiritually ground yourself? What are you doing to be around people who like will give you support, but also kick you in the butt, right? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Are you working out? All of that will drive the energy so that you can make better decisions and choices that align with your goal in the future self. So,
yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. People, underestimate what they can do in 5 years, but over what they can do in one. And they don't really play the long game. And I think the longer you can extend that time horizon for which you're expecting results, it's impossible for you to lose, because you're never going to be disappointed. If you say that your goal is to help 1,000 people, make $1 million. Well, if you say that your goal is in 5 years, well, if you don't hit it in 5 years, then you'll probably be pretty burnt out and disappointed. But if you say, I'm just going to do this till I die and it will happen, then it's going to happen. Like that's just a fact. And people need to, really commit to this process and fall in love with the journey. So, I love it, dude. I think you're just such a wealth of knowledge, and you lead by example. You walk the walk. You're a true practitioner. Where do people go to find out more about you? I know you've got some incredible programs, coaching, all kinds of stuff. Like what do people do?
Just go to coachpipes.com. Coachpipes.com. You can actually join our VIP list. You can actually follow me on Instagram at Coach Pipes. We have multiple things that are taking place. We obviously have our one-on-one coaching, which is the core of our organization, our business. It's not just me. It's all of our coaches are $1 million earners, and are still in the business. And I think that's an important thing to look at, is that, like I said, I'm not going to put people out there that to help someone get to the top of Everest that's only been to the top of their backyard hill. You know what I mean? So we got some badass coaches, and you can actually schedule exploratory calls with them and stuff like that. But we also have 3-day events. I think one's coming up in October the 23rd, 24th, 25th here in Salt Lake City, which is all skills, scripts, training, influence, what to say for your listing presentation stuff. So all of that you can find on Coach Pipes. So more than anything, if I can ever help, bro, like honestly, guys, my cell phone number, my real cell phone number, 714-981-8622. drop me a text, right? What if I'm totally slammed, give me 24 hours, but I will respond to you. I mean, like, just like Mike, we are here for one thing. We want all of you to step into the greatness that you have, which you have. We want every single one of you to be able to earning 6 or 7 figures, right? It's a travesty if you're not. Why be in the business? And I mean that with all due respect for anyone that's not at 7 figures, right? And if you're at 7 figures, get your ass to 8. So, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, dude. And you know, to kind of wrap this up full circle, Bill does what he says. And what I mean by that is, my past broker, who's still one of my best friends to this day, Darren Langell, right? And he's on that list of people that has gone to $1 million. And I look at Darren, and the reason why Darren and I aligned and I joined the brokerage initially is because of the alignment of the habits, the standards, and the visions that we had, which all boil down to the traits that you teach. So I think what you do and the approach you have, dude, is second to none. I have so much respect for what you do. And guys, I'm going to link, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this video in the intro, all of Coach Pipe's incredible stuff below, so you can click it, check it out. And this is something that genuinely will take your business to a completely different level.
Appreciate it, brother. Thanks for having me on. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation of bullshitting back and forth, because we did. So thank you. I appreciate you, Mike, and all that you do.
You too, dude. Thank you guys so much. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go check out Coach Pipes and get ready to go to 7 figures.